treat privacy as a privilege. Think about it. As a teen, would you have wanted your parents to listen in on every phone call you ever had with your friends, to read your diary, or to be in the room every time you had a friend over? Of course not. And your teens likely feel the same way about you hovering over their use of technology and social media. The need to separate and individuate from parents is an essential developmental task in these years, and it is your job as a parent to use these years to train your teens for adulthood. At the end of these years, they will need to be independent from you, and you will want that transition to go well. But even for adults, there are times when we forfeit the privilege of privacy. For example, when the police believe you have a probable cause, they can invade our privacy to do a search of our person or our property. Or a judge can issue a warrant and law enforcement officers will search our home or even confiscate our computer or personal documents. It happens all the time and serves as a useful and protective aspect of governance. But it happens for a reason. Someone has given the authorities a reason, sign of criminal activity or terrorism to search and seize. When they have a reason, the authorities have to check it out. When kids enter their teens, they are becoming adults and should be granted as much privacy as they can handle. However, if you have probable cause to suspect that something might be awry, don't be afraid to intrude on their privacy and exercise your authority. If you notice they are communicating with strangers, getting online at the same time or strange times, being secretive about their use, experiencing mood changes, positive or negative, related to use, those are all reasons to wonder. If their behavior is suspect or is changing in some way, or if they are isolating or have reason to suspect dangerous activity, then activate the judge inside yourself and issue a search warrant. If you need help to better recognize and understand the warning signs, attend a workshop or do some research on teen usage of the internet. Be informed. And don't forget the formula. Freedom equals responsibility equals love. If you have first established trust with the formula, intruding on your teen's privacy will go much easier than if you haven't. But also exercise restraint. If a kid is proving himself responsible and loving with his freedom, an unlawful search and seizure can damage trust and spark a rebellion. Don't be afraid to include your kids on this journey with you. Boundaries are about relationship, and trust builds from knowing each other and figuring things out together. If they know your heart and trust that you want to help them grow, to grant them freedom, and also to protect them, all this goes much better. When my girls first started having a digital life, I had them do research, present a seminar to me about digital dangers, and write a suggested policy that we would abide by. It led to great conversations and policies. So know your kids and get to know them better. Also, know who they are routinely hanging out with and who they communicate with. Know who is training them outside your home or at church or school. And make sure these places reinforce your values and practice. Establish trust and monitor it well. Trust includes understanding their needs, including how important their digital life is to them, and then helping them to stay safe and establish track records of trust. FOMO, missing out on some things so you don't miss out on the best things. Even after developing technology rules for yourself as an adult, as well as for your kids, there is one dynamic that both generations are likely to struggle with. Here is the issue and some solutions. Recently, John, was having dinner with an out-of-state client and his wife at a nice restaurant. I was enjoying myself. As I had a busy week and these were people who were engaging and interesting, I liked them a lot. In the middle of the dinner, the wife's cell phone vibrated and she immediately picked it up, excused herself from the table, and answered the call. I said to my client, "I hope everything is okay." "It's probably not an emergency," he said, grimacing a bit. "She just answers whoever calls." "She doesn't let the calls go to voicemail?" I asked in surprise. "We've had that conversation many times," he said. She just can't let the calls go. It always feels like whoever calls trumps whatever we've got going on. I've sort of given up on this changing." I felt sad for him, for her, and for myself. The call ended up being a friend who just wanted to confirm a meeting the next week. Nothing urgent or important, but it disrupted what had otherwise been a very pleasant evening. She was experiencing a condition now known as by the acronym FOMO. FOMO is fear of missing out. It refers to the anxiety people feel when they fear something important may be going on that they are not aware of. It usually concerns the individual's social life and is characterized by a need to stay in touch with one's friends, sometimes by the hour or minute, to make sure they don't miss out on anything. It can also be about an event, such as attending the concert or a favorite band that might be back in the area for a long time. Ever check your Facebook, email, or text every few minutes just to stay in touch? Or maybe you have a teen who uses photo-based apps such as Instagram or Snapchat dozens of hundreds of times a day to check on what clothes her friends are wearing and what shops they are in, and to post photos of herself doing things like brushing her teeth or eating breakfast. If so, welcome to FOMO. When our sons were in high school, we had dozens of discussions with them about parties, meetings, and gatherings they wanted to attend, sometimes on school nights and sometimes in place of family times. After a while, I began to notice a pattern in these conversations. Many of them started with the phrase, "But it's the last time." "But it's the last time we'll see each other before we leave for winter break." Or, "It's the last time we'll be 16. While I am sentimental about memories as anyone else, I finally said, it's the last time. It's no longer a good reason to be out on a school night or to miss a family event. The only out will be if these people are really important to you and you truly may never see them again." And with some exceptions that helped, but that last time refrain is another manifestation of FOMO. It's normal to want to be involved and engaged with the events and people that matter to us. We all are driven by relationship and attachment to others, and in the digital age, that improvement is quite simple and easy. But FOMO has the potential to intensify this need to the point that it ends up being life disruptive. When FOMO keeps us from being able to fully engage in the non-digital world right in front of us and to enjoy the people we are actually with, it's a problem. As in the example of my somewhat interrupted dinner with a client and his FOMO wife, it gets in the way of real life. FOMO wasn't much of an issue before the digital age for two reasons. First, we weren't aware of what we were missing. We didn't have access to social media that gave us real-time information on everyone and everything we cared about. You can't miss what you don't know about. But now you can know what your friends are having for dinner at a restaurant near you, and your kids can know what there is a great party happening a block away. Second, even if we don't know what we are missing, we were less able to do anything about it. Attending a celebration for a friend who lives several states away could have meant a long drive or a prohibitively expensive plane ticket. That would have been a huge deal. Now that the world has gotten smaller and travel easier and more affordable, it doesn't involve an extreme amount of trouble and expense. The result is that we are actually aware of what we are missing, and we actually have the means to do something in response to what we know. The outcome of these realities is when we anticipate not doing that desired thing. We become anxious and driven, thus FOMO. I found out that I had some FOMO when I was out to dinner with my wife and excused myself to go to the restroom. When I returned, she said, "I think you've checked your email in the bathroom." I looked down at my hand and saw my smartphone clutched in it and said, "Oh my gosh, you're right, I've got FOMO." I realized that I had been anxious about missing out on regular, non-emergency emails and text while I was out to dinner. The simple fix was to leave my smartphone on the dinner table when I was gone. Smartphones and the internet aren't the entire problem underlying FOMO. It has a deeper aspect, which is what psychologists call a dependency issue. It happens when individuals don't feel solid and complete on their own and so require constant contact with others. The constant contact serves to stabilize their sense of stability and peace inside. Dependency is a good thing. We are all dependent on each other for the love and support we need. But healthy dependency does not mean that we must be online with each other most of the time. We are to connect, go out in the world, connect again and refuel, and go out again into the world. Healthy lives are those in which we can fuel up by our relationships, digital and non-digital. Then go accomplish what we need to accomplish. Someone who can't devote a few hours to an important task without having a digital fueling is too dependent on that medium. So how do you know if you have FOMO, besides someone noticing that you have been checking your texts in the bathroom? Here are a few characteristics to help you self-diagnose the condition. To know you may have FOMO, and the following occur. First thing you do at every break between events is check your smartphone instead of talking to someone, stretching, walking, or thinking, etc. You experience anxiety and wonder, what am I missing, when you aren't able to check your phone during a break. You experience anxiety even when you're not waiting for an important response from someone you expect to contact you immediately, imminently. You feel edgy because you can't check your phone when a meeting is going on too long. You default to engaging the digital world instead of the one around you. Others express concern about your digital engagement or commitment that they think you are somewhat out of balance with the amount of time you devote to it. At the end of your day, it's hard to reflect on the events of the day because nothing much happened in your relational world or your task world except that you keep up with your friends, the news, or your hobbies on a digital device. Here are some guidelines to help you resolve any FOMO issues with which you may be struggling. Number 1, engage with the people you are with. When you are physically with those who care about, focus on your interaction with them, how much they mean to you, and how it feels to talk to them. Look at them and choose to give them your full attention. When you do so, you are fueling up. Relationally, you will care less about missing out on what everyone else is doing right now. The principle is that relationship and love both fill us up and displace fear and anxiety. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. 1 John 4 verse 18. Number 2, focus on creating a life of freedom. Remember that successful people are autonomous, self-directed people. Think about the people you most respect and admire, perhaps those with great jobs and great families. They are probably not worried all the time about who is doing what, and what they might be missing out on. They are not servants of who might be contacting me. Instead, they are autonomous or free to do what is important to them. Number 3, observe regular, non-digital time periods. We have mentioned this previously, but you simply must have some time with zero access to the digital world. A client of mine told me that he decided to have one evening a week with his wife and kids that was a no-pixel night. Your brain needs a rest from the jolt, and the more regularly you do this, as in every day, the less FOMO you will experience. Number 4, think through the why of your FOMO. Follow the train of thought underlying your anxiety until you arrive at a reasonable reality. For example, I'm afraid of not checking my phone every few minutes. Why? Because I might miss something someone wants to tell me. Why is that a big deal? Because it might be important. Think over the last 7 days what percentage of the digital communications you received that were important enough for you to check every few minutes. About 1%. So does checking all the time make sense? No, it makes no sense, and it isn't helping me. Running down the why and accessing it in the light of reality will reduce your FOMO. Number 5, train the people in your life not to expect an instant response. FOMO causes us to call or text back right away, just as my client's wife did while we were at dinner. This then creates an expectation in others that we are always on call for them. Instead, just wait a while. If it's not truly urgent, you can wait a few minutes, hours, or days, depending on the situation. You may receive some messages that you shouldn't answer at all. If it's not a crisis, the people who care about you shouldn't become irritated because you don't instantly call or text them back. When someone calls me back immediately all the time, I wonder if they have retired from their job or if they just need to get a life. At the end of the day, we all have to miss out on something in life to get somewhere. You have to miss out on dating, lots of potentials to have a great marriage. You have to miss out on several great jobs to land the right one. You have to miss out on living anywhere in the world to live in the best place for you. You have to miss out on all the freedom you'd love to raise grounded and healthy kids. Be more focused on what you're getting and realize that you are missing out on the right things in order to have the best life.